yeah, I think it's a big honor that people will pay to come
Yeah,
see you and sit there and listen to you talk about ridiculous things
it's true.
and share in that laughter with you, right? Like, I think it's amazing and I
Oh
absolutely love
yeah,
doing it. Yeah, it's a huge
me
honor.
too. Oh,
Yeah,
I feel the same way. I feel the same way, and I take that wherever I go. It doesn't matter what kind of show I'm doing because I'm like every show I go to, every show I where I perform, somebody is there who this could be their first night out in God knows how long. You
yeah,
know, for God knows how long they could have been, nervous or reluctant to go out because of COVID. They weren't comfortable going out before. This is their first time venturing out. COVID could be, you know, um, a lot of people had went into financial difficulties over COVID. Maybe they saved up to come out tonight to make a
yeah,
night out, got a babysitter or whatever, got the night off or whatever it is. Like people make sacrifices to come and see us, and I
yeah,
feel like the least we can do is show up prepared.
100%.
Show up prepared and give them your best. Hi, everyone. Welcome back. It's been a while. So, this is season 4 of Shooting the Breeze. And I know season 3 ended almost 2 years ago. So I've been busy, but I'm back and I'm happy to introduce first guest of season 4, my dear friend Rob Morgan. Welcome, Rob.
Hello, thank you.
Hello. Thank you for being here.
Thank you for
Thank you
having
for
me.
being here. So how have you been? How have you
Fantastic.
been?
Way too
Excellent.
busy, but
Mm-hmm.
fantastic. Yes.
How are because you produce pints and punchlines.
Yes.
Yes. And how did that develop and how has that been going?
That has been an absolute chore, to say the least. A lot more work than I had originally anticipated, but like I'm a bit of a perfectionist and I believe in doing stuff and doing it very well. So I've invested a lot of time and money into this, and we've just recently purchased a new stage. So we have like an actual stage that we set up at the clock tower in Elgin Street, and the sound system and the banner that goes in the back and stuff. Yeah, it's a lot of work. And dealing with comics has been very trying at times.
We can be special, a special breed at
Yeah,
times.
because I was just talking to a coworker friend about this, and I said, like, because I'm a photographer, right? And I always thought like dealing with models, they were the most fickle people in the entire world. Like they're so hard to deal with. Then I started dealing with comics. I was like, oh no,
You're like,
this
sorry,
is that.
models. Because it's true. You're a photographer, and are you still active in photography, or do you just dabble in it now? Or
It slowed down a little bit considerably, well, especially because of COVID. So I had to cancel all the weddings that I had booked and stuff like that. I'm definitely going back into it and pursuing it more, but now I'm sticking more with the portrait side and smaller sessions instead of these large weddings that I've been doing.
okay,
Yeah,
wow. How long have you been a photographer?
10 years now.
Wow,
Yeah,
wow, that's
I
cool.
love it.
You love it?
Yeah, not as much as I love comedy though.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
Really? How did you get started in comedy?
it's it's something I've always wanted to do, and I've always been quite comfortable on stage because, like, I used to be a preacher. I used to do a lot of theater and stuff like that. And then I heard about Pierre Bro's comedy class here in Ottawa. And so I read up about it and found out that at the final stage, the entire class had to get on stage and do a showcase show. So I knew that that would force me to get on stage. And so I took the class and ended up getting on stage and doing it and fell in love with it.
When did you take Pierre's class?
That was 3 years ago.
Okay, because I took it 3 years ago as well, but we weren't in the same class.
No, you were probably like just before me or just after me.
Um, my course
I think you were
started.
before me.
Yeah, because we had our final thing at the end of I remember it was near my sister's birthday, so around the 23rd or 24th of September, which would have put the class starting like mid August, late August of
Yeah, I think
2019.
mine finished in October.
Ah, okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So you might have, if you finished in October, you would have started like mid September or something. So I think there might have been an overlap. I think some of the courses overlap
Yeah.
by a week or two. So you might have been in that, because I remember I went to see a group perform maybe a week or two before my group.
Right.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, it was a lot of fun. I learned a lot.
Yeah, same, same.
Yeah.
Is anybody from your class still doing it?
Thierry is the only one I know. Him and I were both like extremely passionate about it. He's primarily a French comedian. And I know he's producing several very successful shows now in the Gatineau area
Oh wow.
in Ottawa. Yeah, he's doing very, very well for himself. And he's been traveling around a little bit doing comedy. He had to slow down a little bit though, because he's a new father. So
Okay.
yeah, I
Wow.
just had a baby. Yeah.
Oh, that's great. That's great.
Yeah.
Like in my class, Emmett Morrison was in my
Oh, wow.
class. Yeah. And we became friends there. And then I remember after our show, at that time, I was the only one who kept going, like started doing open mics and stuff. And then
Yeah.
the pandemic hit. And then when things start to open up again, so this would have been maybe August, September of 20. um I was at a show. I wasn't on the show, but I was at a show at Yuck Yucks, the old location on Elgin. And I think I
Right.
had posted like that I was at the show, and then he showed up, and I hadn't seen him in a little over a year, and he was like, "Oh, I'm thinking of getting back into it." And I was like, "You have to." I was like, "Nobody does what you do."
Yeah, he's
You know.
very funny.
Yeah, and
He's
then
very
he
talented.
started
Yeah,
shortly after that he started. Now he's on fire. But
that's
yeah, we were in the
awesome.
same class. We were in the same class. I love him
That's
so much.
awesome.
He's so good. Yeah.
Yeah, he is. He's very talented. It's
Yeah.
very hard to, I think, like personally for me, writing, the hardest thing to write is one-liners,
Oh my God. Yeah.
and he's so
Yeah.
good at it.
He's so good at it. And the on top of that, like if he does a 15-minute set, he's gotta come up with like 100 one-liners, because
Yeah,
one-liners they're a couple seconds long. You know what I mean? Like where we're more storytellers, we can be like, okay, this bit is a minute. This bit is this, to do this bit is 3 minutes, or this bit is 30 seconds.
yeah,
We put together a 10-minute set. It could be anywhere from six to eight little pieces. You know what I mean? Put together for
yeah.
that time. But one-liners, like it's hundreds,
It's a,
probably. You know?
that's too much work for me.
Yeah, that's a lot of work. It's a lot of work, and it's hard. Yeah, that's
Yeah,
a special skill on
yeah,
its
for
own, on
sure.
top of just being able to do stand up. So
Yeah.
yeah, yeah. So you said you'd always wanted to do comedy, like from childhood, teenage years, like.
Yeah, always. Like
Yeah.
I was the class clown.
Oh, were you?
Always. Yeah,
Okay.
I was always making people laugh. It was always a big part of my life, and I
Okay.
think it has to do, like a lot of us that suffer trauma and stuff like that, it's laughter and comedy is a coping mechanism, right?
Yeah.
And being bullied a lot as a kid and stuff like that, like you use humor to deflect and to
Right.
control situations and stuff that you wouldn't normally have control over, yeah.
Yeah, I
So I
can
learned
relate
it
to
at a
that.
very young age because I was extremely flamboyant in a very small town, so
Okay. Is where did you grow up? Like where?
Cold Lake, Alberta.
Cold Lake, Alberta. Okay.
Yeah, that's where I spent most of my life.
Wow.
And up until I was little unknown fact about me, up until I was, 17, most people couldn't tell whether I was a boy or a girl.
Really?
Yes.
Oh, you had long hair or
I had longish hair, but I was extremely effeminate.
okay. And I guess no
And
facial hair.
yeah, yeah, not at that age. I didn't have any facial hair. But like one instance, my mom took me to get my hair cut when I was 16 years old. And then she came in to pick me up at the salon, and the hairdresser said, "Oh my God, your daughter is just the sweetest person I've ever met." And my mom goes, "When did you meet my daughter?" And the hairdresser goes, I just cut her hair." And my mom goes, That's my son."
Wow.
Yeah, yeah,
Oh my goodness. But yeah, like
yeah.
I used humor um to cope with trauma as well, but I wasn't the class clown. Like I was like the class mouse. And it was I would only show that part like with people I was very comfortable with, you
Oh,
know?
really?
Yeah. Yeah, I was never the um yeah, I was never the one to be noticed. I'd always fade into the background sort of thing. And I would use it like if I used it outside of like a comfortable setting, it was like if say somebody was like disrespecting me or treating me badly, instead of being like, you piece of shit, blah 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 blah, I'd be sarcastic and like use humor to sort of to say what I wanted, but to kind of diffuse it
Right,
sort
right.
of thing. Cause that was like that felt safer
Yeah,
somehow instead of being like, nah, like this. I would like make a joke out of it, still say what I wanted to say, but say it in a joking way so that like the person didn't really realize that I was angry or upset or anything like that. It was
right.
just a
Yeah, yeah,
strange I used it in a strange way, because
yeah.
there's a lot of tone policing um and stuff like that. Like, don't you raise your voice at me and like that kind of bullshit. So I could say it without raising my voice or without um yelling or anything, but
Yeah.
still do the bitch slap. The verbal bitch slap. You know what I
Yeah,
mean?
yeah.
And I'd say, yeah, I guess I used it more like a weapon then
Right.
versus when I was in a comfortable environment, it was like to genuinely make people laugh, you know? Yeah.
Yeah, of course, yeah.
'Cause when did you so you said you took Pierre's class 3 years ago, you were a class clown and all of that growing up. Like at what point were you like, I want to try it. I want to do stand up and I want to get on a stage and do it. Like when did that happen?
So it was just before Pierre's class that when I was like, this is something I want to do. I don't want to end my life and not have done this because it's something that's always been a big dream of mine. And I've always been somebody to pursue my dreams, right? But this was one of my biggest ones and one of my biggest fears as well, because you don't want to fail at something you want so bad, right?
Exactly.
And then right as soon as I got involved in it, um, one of my best friends, Nick, who you've met, introduced me. He said, I have a friend who does stand up comedy, and this is Nick Burton, of course. He
I
says,
love Nick.
yeah, he's like, I want you to meet him and then have a chat with him. So we met at Brothers Beer Bistro, which was Nick's restaurant at the time. Nick owned that restaurant. And Birdie and I met for the first time, and we sat down and just started chatting. We just really hit it off. And then he put me on stage with Pros and Joes, which is like the first time that I was actually outside of the class and on stage
Yeah.
and stuff. And it was, yeah, it was horrible. I was, there's mistakes that we all make,
Oh,
especially
yes.
first
Yes.
starting out. Yeah. They may not be the exact same mistakes, but they all fall in the same categories, right? Like they're very, very similar mistakes that we all make. Of course, I made those mistakes, but Nick definitely saw some potential there and just kept giving me stage time and helping me out and stuff. And then I did some open mics and just kept going and absolutely love. But it wasn't until 2 years in when I did the sex positive show at Laugh Lounge. And I did 20 minutes, and it was the first time I could
That was
officially
this
say, like,
year. That would have
yeah,
been this year, yeah.
yeah. It was the first time I could officially say, like, I killed it. Like I just slayed that room. Um, and that's when I was like, oh yeah, this is something I really want to do.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah.
That's awesome. Yeah, Nick is great. I love Nick.
He's amazing, so
Yeah.
supportive
Yeah. Yeah.
of so many people in the community and such a
Mhm.
diverse group of people that he supports and
Yeah. Yeah.
yeah,
And like he recognizes hard work. He respects hard work.
exactly,
He
yeah,
respects hard work. If you're putting the work in, you don't have to be the best, but if you're working hard and you're diligent and you're trying hard and you're putting in the effort, he recognizes that. He
yeah,
recognizes
100%.
that. He was, I think, my second guest on this podcast when I
Oh,
started it.
really?
Yeah, and I didn't know him very well. I had met him like a handful of times because he was on like he was headlining a show that I went to, or that I remember. I think one time I was at, maybe one of the first times I was on at Poor Boy, and he was the feature,
Yeah.
and I was like, oh, he's so good. And he's so cute. But I didn't know him at all then. And then I like run into him a few times. And so I approached him on Instagram and said, hey, I'm doing this thing. Would you like to be a guest? And like he didn't know me from anybody. And
Yeah,
he was like, sure, let me know when. We figured out a time and stuff. And um yeah, and then I was after that I guess he recognized, because I don't know if he remembered me or recognized me or anything like that, but I think it was at that point that um like he recognized that I was serious
right.
about it. I think with the questions I was asking him, and I went prepared, like I was there prepared to ask him questions. I had looked him up and stuff like that and asked him, how you got started. I read, XYZ is how you got started. He was like, yeah, okay. So I think like he appreciated the fact that I put like work into it, sort of
Right.
thing, but like he's been super super supportive, and really encouraging and stuff like that. So,
Yeah, yeah.
yeah. Yeah, I love Nick.
Awesome. Yeah, he's a great partner to have.
He, yeah, he's a
Yeah.
great person to have in your corner for sure.
Yeah,
For
100%,
sure,
yeah.
Oh yeah. And I know I think you and I were joking about this, that we're like our own little posse of
Yeah,
shows, because it's like the same like four or five comics, like me,
yeah,
you, Nick, Wafik, and Steve Love
yeah, yeah,
doing shows. And for a period of time not too long ago, it was like every week we were on a show together or
yeah, yeah,
something. Like we're on this little tour, and I get awesome. That was so cool. That was so cool.
yeah,
Yeah.
lots of fun. I know people I love working with.
Yeah, same.
Yeah,
Same here. Same here. Cuz there's a level of reassurance, cuz we know each other really well. we trust each other, and it's never like it'll never be we'll never be in a situation where we're all on a show and be like, "Oh god, I hope Simone shows up." Or you know what I mean? Or I hope so and
Yeah,
so, can keep it together tonight. You know what I mean? And do, a solid 10, we never, like we don't have to worry about those things with each
yeah,
other just because we're all professional. We're all professionals. Like we have fun and we joke around and we mess around, but at the end of the day, like we have a job to do. We take it seriously,
yeah,
sort of
yeah,
thing, and like we respect the craft, we respect each other, we respect the venue and the show and the audience,
yeah,
that we're
yeah,
going to show up and do what we're supposed to do. We're not going to fuck around and mess things up for the rest of the group, you know what I mean? So
right.
I know
We're
I
not gonna fuck
feel
around and find out.
exactly. Exactly. And I think a lot of people think, oh, it's just about being funny. And I think, yeah, you got to be funny. Funny is a big part. We're comedians, so yeah, funny is expected, but
Yeah,
I think there are a lot of other factors that that are important when it comes to booking or not booking someone.
yeah, 100%.
There
There
are
is a
other
level of
factors.
professionalism
Mhm.
and, yeah,
Yeah.
respect and stuff like that, that I
Mhm.
think will definitely help people get booked more if you're more professional, more prepared,
Yes.
and take it more seriously. And I think it is something like I've never taken anything more seriously in my life, and I've
Same.
I worked so hard at it, because I want to do a good job, not
Exactly.
because I'm afraid of failing or not because I'm afraid of not being liked or whatever. It doesn't come from that place. It comes from just genuinely really wanting to do a good job and to make
Yes.
people laugh.
Yes.
And yeah, I think it's a big honor that people will pay to come
Yeah,
see you and sit there and listen to you talk about ridiculous things
it's true.
and share in that laughter with you, right? Like I think it's amazing and I
Oh
absolutely love
yeah.
doing it. Yeah, it's a huge
Me
honor.
too. Oh,
Yeah,
I feel the same way. I feel the same way, and I take that wherever I go. It doesn't matter what kind of show I'm doing, because I'm like, every show I go to, every show where I perform, somebody is there who this could be their first night out in God knows how long, you
yeah,
know? For God knows how long. They could have been, nervous or reluctant to go out because of COVID. They weren't comfortable going out before. This is their first time venturing out. COVID could be, a lot of people had went into financial difficulties over COVID. Maybe, they saved up to come out tonight, to make a
yeah,
night out, got a babysitter or whatever, got the night off or whatever it is. Like people make sacrifices to come and see us. And I
yeah,
feel like the least we can do is show up prepared.
100%.
Show up prepared and give them your best.
Yeah,
And I th- you probably feel the same way. There's nothing more frustrating to me than when I hear a comic say to the audience, what am I going to talk about? Or something like, I'm just going to try something out on you, sort of thing. No, even if that's what you're doing, even if you are working stuff out, you don't have to tell the audience that.
yeah,
You don't have to tell them that. There are ways to work out stuff. Like we all have our different techniques. There are ways to work out stuff without telling the audience like, "Oh, yeah, you're not that important. I'm not giving you my best stuff.
yeah,
I'm trying new stuff that may or may not work. You have to sit through this." That
yeah.
I think
No,
that's
when
obnoxious.
I think that like stuff like that might be fine for like just an open mic, like an unpaid open mic or something like that. But if I hear somebody, even in open mic, I think you need to be somewhat prepared for.
Yeah.
And when I hear somebody get up and say, "Oh, I haven't really prepared anything," I literally just want to get up and grab the mic out of
Me
their hand and
too.
say,
Me
"Then
too. It's
don't
like
bother."
sit down and let someone else who's prepared go out
Yeah,
there. Because I
let
think the only time it would be like acceptable to say that is if it's a room where it's just comics. Just
yes,
comics. Like there are no civilians in there. It's just comics and they're not listening anyway. So you can get up there and say, okay, you can get up there and practice something that this is the first time you're saying it out loud,
yeah. Well,
because
and
it's just a room
like,
full of
perfect example of this is the show we did, was it like 2 weeks ago when you were
which
at Moose McGuire's?
even that no, like I consider that like
Yeah, but I showed up. I was just coming to watch
oh
you.
right.
That
That's
was it.
true.
And when I walked in, Karen was like, "Oh my God, you didn't tell me you were coming." And I was like, "Well, it was very last minute because I was working, didn't know if I was going to be
That's
able to make
true.
it or
That's
not."
true.
And she
Yes.
said, "Do you want to do a spot?" And I was like, "Oh, okay, sure." And then I got up but I didn't have anything prepared. I wasn't prepared to get on stage that night, but I didn't tell anybody that.
Right. And the thing is you're a professional.
Exactly.
That's we're at the level now where it's like you go to a show, maybe at the back of your mind there might be like you always have some like bits like a 5-minute thing in the back of your mind just in case maybe
Yeah.
so and so might ask me, but that also comes after like you earn that you earn that level where if you go to a show to watch where the producer or somebody says, "Oh, you want to do a spot?" Like that doesn't just happen. Like that comes over time. You've proven yourself.
Right, right.
You've performed hundreds and hundreds of times. You're consistent. You're reliable.
She
You're
did say at the end though, she was pissed that I didn't do Kevin. I pissed her
I
off.
love that. I love that joke. I love that joke. I love that joke. But yeah, it's like I know like I like going to watch, I like going to watch shows cuz I don't it's not often that I'm just there to watch, you
Yeah,
know? And this isn't a bad problem to have. I'm not complaining it at all. But it's like I go to watch and most times I end up on the stage.
right, right.
I go to watch because it's like, oh, so and so's in town, and tonight's the only night I can go and watch them because I'm performing the next night, or I'm not going to be here. I'm going to be somewhere else, and I would go, and whoever would be like, oh, hey, you want to do five? You want to open up? Sure, sure.
Yeah, that's
So that's a
awesome.
good
Yeah, yeah.
problem to have. I am not
It
complaining
is
at
for
all.
sure.
I'm not complaining at all. You
Yeah.
know, um,
I have had a couple times where I've been asked, like I've shown up to watch the show and been asked to do, and I said, honestly, I'm really here just to watch. And I know you're a stage whore.
yes, as I've been told.
Yeah. But I mean, it's not often I will, but if I'm really just focused on studying, like there's some comics um that I really just want to watch and study and see what they do, and I'm really focused in study mode, so
Yeah,
I won't get up. Yeah, and I learned that's something that I learned actually from Pierre's class, and not even something really that I was taught in the class, but I remember so they Pierre had asked me to close out the show for the showcase for our class, and everybody else sat in the green room. I went out and watched all the other comics,
that's what I do too.
and I watched some comics who wrote really good jokes, but they didn't do well. And
Mm,
then I watched comics that didn't write good jokes, but they did very well. And I was trying to find, I was watching to learn. I'm like, what's the difference here? What's going on? And it was the people that made a genuine connection with the audience that were very that seemed more authentic and just to be having a good time and enjoying themselves, those were the people that did better. So I was watching and studying and learning that, and I was like, okay, so I need to tap into this and just get on stage and do a really good job
Yeah.
and connect.
It's
Yeah,
true. It's true. And like I want to hear the show. I want to see, I want to hear what's going on. I want to hear what the audience is laughing at or not laughing at. I want to
yes,
hear, like, I don't do a lot of crowd work. I'm not a crowd work person, but I want to hear like what other comics are asking the audience, like how
yeah,
they're reacting to stuff. Is I feel too cut off. Like if you go to a show and the green room is like far away from the stage and you can't hear it, or you can't hear the show, or you can't watch. I know a lot of comics don't like to be in the room or prefer to be elsewhere, but for me, I think it's important to be in the room.
I don't think I've ever once for an entire show sat in the green room.
Yeah,
I may have finished my drink or whatever, but I always go out and
yeah,
watch the show,
yeah.
and unless I think maybe there was 2 instances where I had, extenuating circumstances where I just couldn't control it, where I had to leave the show,
Hmm.
but it doesn't matter where I am on the show, I always stay for the entirety
Yeah,
of the show.
same
Yeah,
with me. Yeah,
yeah,
I think that's important. Yeah, then there's circumstances, maybe you have another show, maybe you have to go to work or something that prevents you from staying the entire show, but I think if you're on the show, you should stay the entire show.
I agree.
Um, but yeah, there's circumstances that, may prevent, but I think it's important to do that. And I know the times that I've been in the green room, I could still hear. I may not be able to see
Yeah,
the person on stage, but I could at least hear the whole, hear everything that's going on.
right, right.
Because I don't like that cut off feeling where the green room is down the hall and in the basement, and then you're going in like blind almost to the room because you don't know how they're reacting. You don't know if they're really giggly and excited,
Yeah,
or if they're like tired and like make us laugh sort of thing. You don't know what to expect, and I just like knowing what to expect. And I like interacting with them sometimes, like as they're walking by, they don't know who you are, and you might have a conversation. You run it like I've run into like women in the bathroom. They don't know who I am, and
right.
like, oh, I like your skirt, I like your hair, la, 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 whatever. And then 20 minutes later, they see me on the stage, and they're like, we talked to her in the bathroom, like, you know what I mean? Like
Yeah,
I like that type of connection,
yeah,
or
yeah, for
just,
sure.
yeah, or even to say on the most basic level, like, are they gonna laugh at my shit? Do I need to do I need to like adjust stuff? Like, is my
Yeah,
stuff too heavy for them, or is it too light for them, or can they take it? You know what I
yeah,
mean? It's just to know, like what am I gonna do when I get up there? Like you've got your set ready and you're gonna do what you're gonna do, but I think it helps if you know what you're walking into at the same time.
yeah,
That you're going in like, okay, they might not like this stuff. I'm doing it anyway because that's what I've prepared, but at least I know
yeah,
that they may not like it. And maybe I can fall back on something else, or adjust it, make adjustments along the way, which is what you do anyway.
yeah.
It's what you do anyway.
Well, and I
Because
thank God now that I have like, and I'm sure you understand as well, like now that we've been doing this consistently for a while now, to have that tool to be able to make last minute adjustments and stuff.
I
Whereas
don't
when I
even have
first
that tool.
started, there was zero. I
Oh no.
remember the first time I did Dirty Bird Comedy Festival, I was relatively new. I mean, like very new,
Yeah, I'll be
and
doing it for the first time this year. Yeah.
it's a lot of fun. But I had gotten up on stage in Canada. The youngest person in the audience was probably 55.
Oh my god.
And I was doing stuff. So this is one joke that I'm still, this is 3 years later, I'm still working on it. I still need to perfect it. But it's, and actually Danny Martinello was there for that show. He was on this show.
I love
Um,
him too.
yeah, yeah, we both know how we feel about it.
We both
um,
love Danny.
and I got up on stage and I said the first one of the first rules of comedy is to know your audience. And I said I may have missed the mark on this one, but this is all I have, so I'm sorry. And I went into this, like, my poop shooter parachute bit and talking to a bunch of senior citizens about getting fucked in the ass, and they were rolling on the floor laughing, and I'm like, "You're all a bunch of old perverts," like, and I love that too about audiences is that
You never know.
when they surprise you like that, right?
Exactly.
And some of my favorite audiences and favorite people that I've performed for are like rednecks,
Same. Same.
like small town rednecks that you would never, people would think, oh, a gay comic is never going to do well in this
Yeah,
atmosphere.
exactly.
And
Or
then,
say me a black female comic. Yeah.
right. And then get up there and you do very well. Now, I think I'm a little bit sneaky about it because until I open my mouth, I look like I'm one of them, right? So they're disarmed the minute I walk on
Somebody
stage.
roasted you with that. Somebody roasted you with that a few weeks ago.
They roasted me hard. My favorite is Abdullah's when he called me Billy Gay Virus. That was that absolutely killed me. And now I have three friends of mine have changed my name in their cell phone to Billy Gay Virus.
Oh my god.
Yeah,
That's insane. That's insane. Oh my
yeah,
god. But yeah, like I've experienced that with you that as well where I'm going to some little town in Ontario and I'm like, "Ooh, I don't know how this is going to go." And it's ended up being like the most fun.
yeah,
The crowd's really receptive and like super fun and they want to buy you drinks after and all kinds of stuff. I don't know if they're overcompensating, but it was fun.
yeah,
When it happened because I think that's the only time that I feel nervous. Is
yeah,
going to like a little town that's like I don't know anybody there. Um and I don't know if they've ever seen the likes of me or if they're even going to accept me or how they're
yeah,
going to react to me because I've heard some scary things about stuff, you know, happening to comics,
yeah,
on the road. I've heard of some like really frightening things and I'm like I don't want that to happen. And
yeah.
you know what I mean? So yeah, but like knock wood so far it's been great. So far it's been great. And I find sometimes the hardest audiences are the ones that are a little too woke.
Eggs. I
The
did a
ones that are a
show.
little too woke and it's
Yeah,
everything's literal and it's like, do you realize you're at a comedy show? Like the goal is to laugh. Like we're making light of of situations. Like that's what we do. And
yeah.
oh, you can't say that or you shouldn't say that. That offended me. And
And can I just say this? My least favorite part about the woke audiences are so far in my experience, every single one of them, 98% of them so 100% of them are white, 98% of them are female.
yes,
I
yes,
don't need you to come to my rescue.
yes,
I
exactly.
don't need you to be offended on my behalf. If I say faggot, bitch, I'm allowed to say faggot. I can say that.
Yeah.
I don't need you to be offended for me. I'm okay with it. I actually enjoy the word quite a bit. I enjoy a lot of offensive things, but I don't need you to be offended on my behalf. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
You're not
Yeah.
rescuing anybody. You're not helping me on any level. You're just
Yeah.
making it really uncomfortable
For
for
everyone.
everybody else.
Yeah.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
I don't give a shit that you're offended by
Yeah,
that word.
exactly. Like, stop
Fuck off.
sucking the air out of the room.
Exactly, right?
Yeah.
Like there was one girl I showed did in Montreal, and every time I said homo, she like crossed her arms, and you could literally hear her butthole tense up. And then I called her out on it. I was like, "What the fuck is your problem?"
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
What'd she
And then I
say?
thought
Like,
to
"Oh, you're not
myself,
allowed to say that," or
no, she was like, "No, nothing. It's nothing. It's nothing." Like, and I'm thinking to myself, and I should have said it. And I was like, "Well, bitch, your head is gonna explode when I say fucking faggot." Like,
you're freaking out at this.
if
Wait.
homo bothers you, I mean, homo is like the least offensive. Homosexual is acceptable, and homo is just a shortened version of. You know what
Of
I
that,
mean?
yeah.
Like, yeah, fuck off.
God. Because I had this was a couple of years ago, um and because I used to do a bit about like whenever I say I'm fat, there's always somebody that goes, no, no, don't say that, don't say that, you're beautiful. you know and I remember a woman came up to me after and was like, you're really beautiful, don't put yourself down like that. And I was like, who? Nobody put me down. Like, what are you talking about? Oh, you said that you're fat. I'm like, I am. Like, bitch, I am. I'm not saying anything that's not true. You know what I mean? And it's like,
Yeah,
did you even listen to the joke? Did you
yeah,
even listen to what I was saying? All she heard is fat. Oh, you can't say that. You can't call yourself fat. You're not ugly. You're not ugly. And my joke is, yeah, no, I know I'm not ugly. Like, I said I was fat, not ugly. Like, listen,
yeah,
sort of thing. And it's happening less now, but I know at the beginning it was just I like you said, unclench your butthole, man. Like, you're at a
yeah.
comedy show, relax. Like,
Well, and people get offended over so much. Like, I don't. Have you heard what's going on with Sophie Buttle right now?
no. I saw something on Facebook, but I didn't know the context of
Well,
it.
like there's a hashtag now, like cancel Sophie Buttle,
Why?
and I went and I watched the clip that everybody was talking about, and all of these people are just irate.
A clip
And
from what? Like what happened?
so it's a joke that she does about excuse me, comparing like abortion and the residential schools. And I get that that's a very, very sensitive topic. But if you listen to the joke, what she's talking about is the absurdity of how the Catholic Church claims the sanctity of life and being anti abortion, but they're burying children,
Yeah, they had
or
no problem
they
with
had
killing children.
for years
Yeah.
buried children in church backyards. You know what I mean? And I'm like, if you like, yes, the joke is very pointed and it's sharp, but when you listen to it for what it really is she's just talking about the absurdity and the hypocrisy within the Catholic Church, and saying that abortion isn't okay, but it's okay to murder a bunch of children and bury
Yeah.
them in the church
Rip
backyard,
them away
right?
from their families and
Yeah,
dispose of them. Yeah.
yeah, yeah,
And the thing is, it's like, I find, like, when you're telling me that, like, I wasn't like, because I'm listening to you and I'm looking at it through the eyes of a comic, that I'm like, she has a point. She's
exactly, yeah,
making a point. She's
yeah,
making a point. And I don't know if it's just because that's how we think.
yeah,
We take these horrible things and try to make sense of it, or try to point out the hypocrisy, point out the absurdity in things. That's how our brains work. And that the the regular person who's not a comic is just hearing these trigger words like, oh my god, church, residential schools, dead children, without
Yeah,
they're not listening to the whole thing and not approaching it with, she's a professional comic. She's been doing this for years. She is
yeah,
sharp, she is smart. I want to hear where is she going with this?
right,
You know
right.
what I mean? Like, yeah, cuz if I just hear like, "Oh, so and so made some remark about residential schools and abortion in the Catholic Church." It's like they they better have a point to
Yeah,
they better have a point, because yeah, that's like a powder keg of a disaster. Could be a disaster.
exactly. Yeah,
But the thing is, she's a professional. She's an amazing comic. That she has worked that bit back and forth to be like, this is the point I want to make. Am I
exactly.
making
Yeah,
it? Am I
yeah,
making it? Before she would even go on stage and say that joke, that she has worked it back and forth, run it through, and probably worked it, like ran it by other comics to have it perfect.
yeah,
And knowing, not that she's going in going, oh, I don't know why everyone's so but knowing that she has these hot volatile subjects that she's tackling. You know what I mean? So
yeah,
she has that, she's fine-tuned that,
yeah,
because she's a good comic.
yeah.
She's not gonna say shit just to say shit and stir up trouble. You know what I mean? So I just, yeah, I
No, and
think,
yeah, when you listen to the whole thing, you do understand that it's very clear that she's making a point about the absurdity and the
mm-hmm,
hypocrisy within the Catholic Church. And
yeah,
yeah, and it's a very well written joke. I think it's quite powerful,
yes,
and I think that's one of the things that like really good comics do, and it's one of the things that I hope someday to be able to get to, is where I'm able to tackle these really deep issues where you can literally cut people open with your words and just like kind of put stuff inside of them, and they don't, because they're so busy laughing, and they don't
yeah,
realize that they're actually learning while
yes,
they're living, like Hannah
yes,
Gadsby, I think, is an absolute genius at that. And she, like, nobody, like, one of my favorite things about comedy, like one of the laughter triggers, is the creating and breaking tension,
mm-hmm,
right? Which is why a lot of
yes,
comics love horror movies too, because
yeah,
it's that buildup of tension and then the release of the breaking of that tension, right? I think like Hannah Gadsby is one of the most brilliant people when it comes to doing that, building that tension, and then really driving home a point, and it leaves people thinking and
yeah,
maybe questioning themselves. Yeah, and I think comedy is very, very powerful for that.
mm-hmm,
Yeah,
exactly, exactly. Because if you think of like the origins of comedy, it was like the court jester delivered like news to the king, and he had to
yeah,
deliver it in a way that the king is going to receive it and not be like, off with his head. You know what
yeah,
I mean? In a way that the king is going to digest it, maybe giggle and be like, okay, yeah,
yeah,
let's change this law, or okay, the townspeople have spoken, sort of thing. Because if somebody, Joe Blow just walks up and says, hey king, blah 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 blah, he could be executed on the spot. So he
yeah,
has to have that that skill of saying what needs to be said in a way that'll be that's digestible,
yes,
and like, and that's what we all strive to do, or to take. I think the closest I ever came to that was, I think it's going 2 years. There was an incident where some guy was calling me, and then when I like rebuffed him, he called me a fat nigger whore, because I refused him, sort of thing. It was over text and everything. It was a big thing. And it bothered me so much. And the bit I wrote was like, I told the story. And then when I said, at first I used to say N word. And then some comics of color that I respect were like, no, he didn't call you N-word. He said the whole word. He said the whole
Exactly.
word.
Yes.
Don't soften it to make your audience
No,
comfortable. Make them uncomfortable. Because
exactly.
did that guy make did he go out of his way to make you feel comfortable? No. Like he said it to injure and to make you
Yes.
uncomfortable. So he's like so they were like, use the word. And so I used it, and like the air's like you feel the everyone's like
Yeah.
horrified. And then my punchline was like, yeah, I know. He said I was fat. And it's just like like the laugh was like, oh thank God. You know what I mean? That's the closest I ever came to that type of thing, because as soon as it came out of my mouth, the air sucked out of the room. People don't know what to say. People are like, and people are thinking like, in this day and age, people are still calling each other that. Yes, in this day and age,
Yeah.
this is still happening. And that was part of the point of saying the joke, not just to be titillating and saying the N-word. It was like, yeah, this still happens.
Yeah.
This still happens. And it
And I think
happened
it's
to
important
me.
to, yeah, I think
Yeah,
it's
and this
important to
happened to
say it.
me,
Yeah.
sort of thing. And so that's like the closest I've ever come to that kind of material. And I know like a comic friend of mine, when the first time he heard it, and he was like, what, like he knew the story, like he knew the situation, but it was the first time he heard the bit. And he contacted me and he was like, that is like the epitome of comedy. He's like, that's, you take something horrible and to make it funny.
Right.
You
Yeah.
find the funny and like the disgusting sort
So
of
can I ask
thing.
you a question?
Of course.
Why are you not using that anymore?
I'm not using it anymore because I'm uncomfortable saying the word. I'm uncomfortable with the word. Like,
Because it's
say,
really good.
yeah. I yeah, like it was a really good bit, and it got the reaction that I wanted, and it was always a very powerful reaction. Maybe I'll bring it back at some point, but I think I'm uncomfortable with it. I'm uncomfortable with it.
That's fair.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I'm uncomfortable with it, because I have to say the actual word. And I don't like to say
Yeah.
that word. I think I've
Yeah.
said
Same.
that word maybe 10 times in my entire life.
Yeah.
you
Because
know,
the N word doesn't have the same impact for sure. Although everybody knows the minute
Everybody
you
knows
say
what it
the N
is.
word, everybody hears that word in their brain, right?
Yeah, because nobody's
So,
like, what N word? Like, nerd? Like, what N word? Like, no, yeah, exactly. Nobody's saying that. But like, if you say F word, for example, a couple words, faggot or
yeah.
fuck,
Yeah.
like, still neither good, but there are multiple. You know what I
Um,
mean?
two of my top three favorite words.
Exactly. Yeah, but yeah, N-word, it's like it's polarizing, and everybody knows. Even people who've never said it know what it means.
Yes.
You say the N-word, you know what it is.
Yeah.
And it's like, yeah, and then like I've done stuff where it's like I've like referenced the N, like, and I've said N-word, I've referenced the N-word, and I'd say, oh, with the soft A, not the hard R, stuff like that.
Right.
And people
Right.
know exactly what it means. But I think a lot of it is like I'm not really comfortable doing that kind of
That's fair.
material.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like people who can do it really, really well. um and I think like a big part of stand up is authenticity, or at least believing what you're saying, like
Yeah.
going like no matter how absurd the premise is, like going in it and like believing it and really being in it,
Yeah.
And with that, I think my discomfort is too obvious that
Okay.
it
Yeah,
kind of
that's
takes
fair.
away from the potency of the joke.
Right, right.
Yeah. And I didn't do it for long. I did it maybe, I think I've performed it live maybe 5 times, and that was, like, right when it happened, because it came to me very quickly, like, he called me that on a Monday, and I think I performed it on a Wednesday.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, like, it was just very quick, and I know part of it was, like, processing and, like, "How what the fuck?" You know what I mean? It was, like, a healing processing thing, and so I did it, I think maybe, like, the next 4 or 5 shows. And at that time, we were still under a lot of restrictions behind
Right,
glass and everything. Um, and I did it for, yeah, maybe a couple shows, like maybe, I don't know, 3 or 4 shows after that, and then just kind of retired it. Because I think it was just more like a healing thing,
right. Yeah, yeah.
you know? But it's a pretty solid joke. It's a pretty solid
Yeah.
joke, and maybe, um, when I feel more comfortable or I feel less vulnerable with it, I can bring it back,
There you go.
But, like, right now, it's not something that, yeah, it's not something I'm very comfortable saying, you know? I think I did it once at the Laugh Lounge. I think I did it once at the Laugh Lounge, and I remember people like like this, and then when I said the punchline, they were like, "Okay, thank God."
I love yeah, I think I have 2 jokes like that where people literally gasp, and it's one of my I think it's my favorite reaction to get from an audience. I mean, I love laughter, of course, is what we
Yes.
all achieve for, but I think 2 of my favorite reactions are the gasp
Mhm.
followed by the laughter, and my other probably most favorite reaction is when I look out and I see people like this.
Yes, yes, where they're
Like, they're
hanging on every word. Yeah,
really paying attention, and I love when I see that happening, and then you see the laugh and stuff, but I
yeah,
love seeing that people are actually making an effort to be engaged with what's
yes,
going on. Yeah.
yes, yes, I love that too. I love that too.
Yeah.
I love that too. Is anything off limits in your act?
No,
No?
as long as it's done right, as long as it's done correctly,
Yeah,
and nothing that would hint towards supporting violence against women or like pedophilia or like rape or anything
yeah,
like that. Like I think you can joke about stuff like that. Like I do have a joke about pedophiles. It actually isn't even my joke. It was a very dear friend of mine that wrote it for me, and I use that joke. Um, but it's definitely very anti pedophilia. I think you can joke about absolutely anything as long as it's done correctly and done properly. Even I think like Ralphie May was the master of this, right? And I always tell people, and we've seen comics get it before that are just racist,
yeah,
but Ralphie May was brilliant because he was very racial, but he was never racist. And it's a very fine line. And if
yeah.
you don't know how to walk that line, then don't. But if you could
Exactly.
do it, yeah, he did it very, very well.
hmm Yeah,
Yeah,
because I think I think that, yeah, you are able and you should be able to get up there and talk about whatever you want.
yeah,
But I think part of that part of that what's the word? Like, having the right to do that also means you have to accept the responsibility of consequences and blowback, and
yeah,
you know what I mean? Like, you can't get up there and say these inflammatory horrible things that don't have a point, and then be all like, "Why is everybody mad?" Like, you know what I mean? "Oh, they can't take a joke." No, no. That there
No,
was no joke there. Like, where's the joke?
yeah.
Show us the joke. And
And I
you
think
know
it
what I
needs
mean?
to I think it needs to come from a place like I have friends from every different background and race and religion and stuff like that. And I've cracked jokes with all sorts of them. And some of them, I mean, like one on one is fine. Like maybe on a stage, I might not do a joke like that,
Yeah.
but because we have that relationship already, and they know it doesn't come from a place of I'm not making fun of your culture, I'm not belittling your culture, I'm celebrating the
Yeah.
differences that we have and how much I love
Exactly.
that. You know what I mean? And that's what it's about. And I think if you come
Yeah.
from that place, then it's kind of then it's okay.
Mhm.
Yeah,
Because I find, uh, like, new comics, like, myself included when I started, I find what I did when I was new, like, I went, like, hypersexual
yeah,
when I was about talking about stuff, and then I find, like, newer male comics are, like, hyper, like, edgelord type, like,
yeah,
I'm gonna say the most inflammatory thing, but there's really no there's no punchline, it's just, like, for shock value
yes,
sort
yeah,
of thing, and then you see over time, as they mature as comics and get more experience, that that's toned down. Like, they're
yeah,
learning to be a comic, and then they can branch back out into the darker stuff because they have the skill of, writing jokes and performing and
right,
you know what I mean? Yeah,
yeah,
because as I used to do, an online show,
yeah,
during the pandemic, and there was one guy that I'd only seen him perform, like, once or twice, and I didn't really like his style just because he was very edgelordy, like, no point, and just saying, like, horrible things for the sake of saying horrible things. He was friends with a couple of friends of mine who I've had on the show, and he asked me directly if he could have a spot, and I was like, "Okay," and I said, "Are you gonna be doing your usual stuff?" And he's like, "Yes." And I was like, "Okay, no hate speech, no this, no this, no this. That say whatever you want, but if it's got to have a point, and don't say shit just to say shit." And
yeah.
he said, "Define hate speech." I should have been like, "You can't be on the show." I should have been like, "I take it back. You cannot be on the show." So yeah, he ended up coming on, and it was over Zoom, and my messages, my text messages, the private messages on Zoom blowing up when this kid was on, going, "What the fuck? Take him off. Take him
Oh
off now.
my
Like, what
god.
the hell?" Like, that's how bad. That's how horrible it was. And when
Oh,
it was horrific. And some of the people saying that, these were like seasoned comics who've seen it all. People who walk the line themselves were like, "What the actual fuck?" Like, just
oh my
blowing up my
god.
phone, blowing up the Zoom thing. And when he finished, I was just like, "What the fuck?" Like, that's what I said. I was like, "What the fuck?" You know? And then I was just like mumbling to myself because I was like, "I can't believe what the fuck this guy just did."
Oh
I
my
can't
god.
believe the shit he was saying, and and all in the name of comedy. Like, none of that was funny. None of that was funny. And I was just so horrified. I was, oh,
That's not
it
the
was
same guy
terrible.
that we saw at Yuck Yucks, was it?
No, no, no. Oh, I remember that guy. That was, whew, that was terrible. I remember that.
That was, yeah, it takes a lot to make me clutch my
Yeah,
pearls, and I
same,
clutched
same,
my
same.
pearl right.
Yeah, and like the whole room, like he lost the room because he was
What?
doing okay, like the first little bit, and then he crossed that line, and the room was like, "Oh, fuck you, fuck you." He lost
Yeah.
everyone.
But I always say in his defense, he did open up saying he was a misogynistic, racist asshole. He
Yes.
delivered on that
He
promise.
delivered. Like this, he
He
spoke no
delivered.
lies. Like that. He warned us. He warned
Yes.
us. You know? But
We
yeah,
knew
no,
we
I
were
remember
getting
that was
into.
before we had met. I don't think we had met. I think we met like a shortly after.
Yeah, yeah,
But because I think that was when Yuck Yucks opened at the Marriott. I think
yeah,
that
yeah.
I
It was
think
the
it was
opening
like
night.
the opening night. Yes. Yes.
Yeah, yeah.
Yes. And I remember sitting there and I was like, because I was sitting with other comics and we were all like looking at each other like, what? Like
Yeah.
this. And the room you could hear a pin drop after.
So, and how long ago was that? Because I brought three friends with me. They
That was
still re-
and they still talk about it?
they still talk about that
Yeah,
night.
that was a year ago.
Yeah, they still
That
reference
was
that night.
like fall 21. It was 21, like this time last year ish. Yeah.
Have we only known each other for like a year?
Yeah. Yeah, I think
It,
we met
it,
like November.
it feels like it's been so much
I
longer.
know it feels like it's been like decades, like in a good way, not like, oh God, it feels like forever. Why does it feel so long? Yes, because I think it was when you had asked me to do a pints and punchlines. And I
Oh
think that would have
yeah,
been
that
November
was
or
November. Was
December.
our
Was
Yeah,
November?
November last year was our
Yeah.
first Pints and Punchlines. Yeah,
Oh, that was the first one.
that was the very
Oh,
first
I
one.
didn't
Yeah,
realize that was the first one. I thought you
yeah,
had
with
done them before.
Nick Burton was headlining that one, right?
Yeah, Nick. Yeah,
Yeah,
Nick was there. Steve was there. Wafik was there.
yeah,
Like that was the start of our little.
yeah,
And then I think Laugh Lounge had just opened,
yeah,
like maybe a month before or something. And yeah, it was like, yeah, that was the start of all of that. I knew Steve from Yuck Yucks because he used to work there,
yeah.
and I was there all the time, so that's where I got to know him. Um, yeah, wow, yeah, it's only been a year. It's going
That's
on a
great.
year. Like it hasn't been an
Yeah,
official year, but yeah, no, we just clicked, right? Because I remember when I got to the clock tower, and our eyes locked and we hugged.
yes,
And then it was that was it. We were in love right
yeah.
after.
I'm a big hugger. I love to hug.
Yeah, I love to hug too. And yeah, we're friends right off the bat. Right off
Yeah,
the bat, you know? Yeah. Yeah, that was cool. I always have fun at Pints and Punchlines. I didn't realize that that was the first one.
yeah,
Amazing.
yeah,
Amazing.
yeah.
You've done a lot with it. You've done a lot with it.
Yeah, and it was, well, so we were asked to go there. We've done shows outside of um, Clock Tower, as you know,
Hmm.
and then I had several other places like breweries and pubs and stuff like that asked me to bring it to them, and then I think what really solidified, because I wasn't sure what way I was going to go, was when I went to Montreal and did Kickback with Eva Alexo. Logan Brown and I went up to do that show,
Yeah,
and
that
I
wasn't
saw,
that long ago. That's like a month
yeah,
ago or something.
yeah, and I really saw what she created there, and I was like, no, I'm gonna tone it back right now. I just want to create like one really good space, and once that space is, solidified, and we have our group of people, like our regulars that come out and stuff, and we have a name for ourselves in that space, then I'll create another space to
Hmm.
to continue that. Like we might do other random shows here and there
Right.
for Pints and Punchlines, but as far as like a regular room and a regular show goes, because I really put my all into it and want to make sure it's a really really good show. Um, yeah, so I think just focusing on the one for now and building
Hmm.
that one up. And that being said, there's some little shit in the Ottawa comedy community that, and I haven't even said anything about this yet. I was gonna say something online about it, and I was like, I don't know if I'm gonna say something or not. I still haven't posted anything about it. So for the first time I think it was 2 months ago, we gave free tickets away. I said
Yes, I remember that.
we're just doing a free show, right? So somebody under the name Steven, I can't remember what the last name was, purchased and reserved a table for 10. So we had everything set up
Yeah.
with um, with all
Yeah,
the reservations.
reserve, yeah.
That table never showed up. So then last month, I had a reservation for 10 under the name Steven, but it was spelled differently. And
But still
I'm
Steven,
I'm
still a Steven.
still Steven, but V-E-N, not P-H-E-N. Anyway, I'm not my mama didn't raise no fucking fool. I am
Yeah.
a smart cookie. And it takes a lot to get by me. And I was like, no, 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 this isn't. So we didn't even bother setting up for that table. We were almost sold out that night. Like it was a pretty packed house. Um, and that Steven table didn't show up. So I don't know who's doing it. And it was only in the Ottawa comedy because I had posted in the Ottawa comedy community. If you wanted, I was offering free tickets to people
Yes.
in that community
Yes, I remember
on the
that.
Facebook group with an LOL code that you could get free tickets to the show if you wanted to come, right? Because I love being able to do that and being able to give free tickets to people that just really love comedy and just want to come out and
Yeah, I
have a
just
good
want to
time,
come and
right?
have fun. Exactly.
Yeah, yeah. But the thing, and I had heard rumors before there was another, I know somebody else was producing another show in Ottawa and they posted that they were sold out. And then they went to the show, they went to do the show and there was 4 people there.
If somebody did bogus reservations.
Somebody did bogus
Oh,
reservations and bought
that's
all the tickets.
that's so obnoxious.
That's
That is
Nick
so
calling
rude.
me.
Oh, Nick is calling you.
Yes, he wants me to work today.
He wants you to work.
Yes, I gotta call him back,
Okay. Okay. Well,
but I can wait a bit.
I won't keep you much
That's a,
longer.
that's okay. I got a few more minutes.
Okay. So, would you like to answer some silly questions?
Sure, I have no idea how I'm going to answer them, but sure.
Okay. All right. So what I'm going to do is I'll ask you to pick a number between 1 and 250,
Okay,
250, and I will ask you the corresponding question.
let's start with 18.
18. Okay. All right. Question 18. What characteristics make a person successful?
Oh, that's a good, I think, and I know this isn't even a word, stick to itiveness.
Stick to itiveness. Yeah.
Like just keep doing it. Persistence
Persistence.
might be the better.
Stick to itness.
Stick to
Stick to it.
itiveness.
Sticks to it.
You can't even say it,
I
girl.
said it the first time and I couldn't say it again. Stick to
Stick
it.
to itiveness. Yeah.
Stick
I
to
think, yeah, that
itiveness.
that persistence and that inner fortitude and that just not giving up, that consistently moving forward
Yeah,
and
despite
being,
setbacks or anything, just
yeah, being
yeah.
comfortable making mistakes. Like a lot of people don't understand that a big part of success, actually, you can't have success without failure. You can't.
Yeah,
And most people fail and then they give up, not realizing that that's actually
that's
one of the
part of
steps
the
to your
journey.
success. Yeah.
It's true.
So just
It's
keep
true.
going. Yeah.
It's true. And like I find with comedy, with stand up, your failures are very public and very visible because
Yeah.
you're on a stage and and at I know that was a big thing that was a big point of fear for me that kept me from doing it for so long. But then you get to a point with experience and everything where it's like it's going to happen.
Yeah.
You're going to get up there and something's not going to work. Your whole set might not work, a
Yeah.
couple bits might not work, and there's no reason for it. It's just one of those things. Something doesn't work. And I think we
Right.
all go into it knowing that, yeah, tonight it might not work. And
Yeah.
oh well, I'll try again tomorrow, sort of thing. And I'm not saying that, you just dust it off and carry on. Like it might bug you for the rest of the night, but you're gonna go up and do it again the next time,
Yeah.
you know? There might be something that you can say, oh, okay, I should have done this, or I could have done that, or this was going on, or whatever. There might be some reason why things didn't work out, or maybe there's no reason. There's no explanation for it.
Yeah.
But, I think if you're serious about it, it'll roll off your shoulders at some point, and then you're just gonna get up and do it
Yeah.
again.
Yeah.
And I think it takes a few times of that happening to be like, yeah, it's gonna happen,
Yeah. I
you
think people
know?
need to be a lot more comfortable with failure and falling, and yeah,
Yeah,
for
because the
sure.
thing is, like, without failure, without falling down and stuff, you're not growing, you're not learning,
Exactly.
and if
Yeah.
if the point is to grow and to learn, that's an
Yeah.
essential part of it.
100%.
Very cool. Okay. Another number.
77.
77. Okay. 77. What food do you dislike the most and why?
Seafood.
Seafood.
Fucking hate it.
Like all of it, like fish and
All
chips,
seafood.
all seafood. No
If it comes
allergy,
out of
just hate it.
hate it. If it comes out of the water, it doesn't go in my mouth.
Okay.
Unless it's wearing a nice pair of Billabong shorts. I fucking hate seafood. And this is one thing, like this has been a huge bone of contention with me for a very, very long time, because people always say, because I keep trying fish, I keep trying seafood, because people are like,
Oh, you
oh,
keep
well,
trying it.
it's an acquired, no, fuck you and your acquired taste. I tried it, I don't like it.
Yeah,
Why am I going to acquire it? If I don't like something,
exactly. You're not
acquired taste is bullshit.
miraculously gonna like it. Yeah.
But people always say, well, it shouldn't taste like fish if it's then it's not good fish if it tastes like. And I was like, no, but it tastes like fish because it's
That's what
fucking fish.
fish.
Like if you told me beef wasn't supposed to taste like beef, I'm like,
Then what is
what the
it?
fuck? Like,
What am I eating?
no, it tastes
Or
like
when
fish
people
because it
tell me
is
stuff,
fish.
oh, it tastes like chicken. Then give me chicken.
Exactly.
Give me a fucking chicken. Here, have this squid. I don't eat squid. It tastes like chicken. Give me the chicken.
Exactly. Amen, sister.
Yeah, sometimes you just don't like shit, and it doesn't matter how it's
Sure.
prepared, or you just don't like it. You tried it,
And
you
I
don't like
wish
it,
I
and it's
did, because I know seafood's very healthy for you.
yeah,
I wish I did like it, but nope, not at all.
yeah. And you've tried it. It's not to say you've never tried it and you're like, I just don't like it. You've tried it, not your thing.
Nope.
Okay. Another one, please. Another number.
103.
103. Okay, 103. Would you rather have an easy job working for someone else, or work for yourself but work incredibly hard?
Oh my God. It is such this is a battle I've been facing for the last 5 years and
Because
keep asking myself.
you can see the pros and cons of each.
Well, and I have my stand-up comedy and the Pints and Punchlines. I also have on that same side my photography business, which I've done very well at both of those, and made money doing it. I probably could make money. I probably could support myself 100% if I just went into photography full
Full
bore.
time.
But it is a huge leap to take. And knowing that I have a full-time job at the airline where I collect a consistent paycheck. However, it's been a balancing act lately. Now I am fortunate in that my full-time job guarantees me at least 2 weeks a month off.
Yes.
So I do have a lot of time to focus on other things. And at this point, I think it would just be foolish to give up a consistent paycheck when I can work
Exactly.
and put all the hard work in at doing the other stuff and growing the other stuff that I want to do so that it'll be a super easy transition
When the
at the
time
end of
comes.
that.
Yeah.
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 Um,
I hear you with that. I
yeah.
hear
That
you
being
with that.
said, if I knew for sure, like if I could just work for myself, but I had that certainty that, yeah, you're going to make, 8 grand a month or whatever, that I would
Mm,
100% do it and just work hard and work for myself. Yeah.
yeah. Yeah. Cause I'm in the same boat because I work incredibly hard with with comedy and stuff, but I also have the security of a steady paycheck, benefits and stuff like that.
Yeah.
That I'm not, because I know people who've given that up, and I'm like, I'm not giving that up. Like, you know what I mean? It's like I'm not in a position to give that up, and I'm at a point where I can manage both. So I'm
Yeah.
managing both. It's hard. It's hard, and it makes for long days and everything, but that's that's how it has to be for now.
Yeah.
That's the way
Yeah.
it's going to be for
And
now,
the
that I have to.
benefits are a big,
Yeah,
having
it's
medical and
huge.
dental, and
It's true,
like
especially
that's
the
really
the
hard to give up.
the last 2 years that I've had with my mouth. I never had like serious issues with my mouth until the start of the pandemic. The last 2.5 years, I've had a root canal. I've had like a dozen cavities filled. I've had two teeth removed. Like, at this rate,
Oh,
I'll have no
wow.
teeth.
Right.
Like, I just have wooden teeth. And if I had to pay all of that, like 100% out of pocket,
Yeah.
I wouldn't have been able to. Yeah, that would have been, you know, prohibitive,
Right, right.
you know? So, yeah, so there are pros and cons of both, but
Yeah,
yeah, for at least the next little while, it's both.
I'm with you. Yeah.
Did you want to do one more?
Sure.
Okay.
Okay. But this time I want you to pick.
You want me to pick? Okay, so
Just
I'll
pick a
pick a
number.
number.
Yeah.
All right, I'll pick 212.
Okay.
Right, so let me find 212. Ah, okay. If you could have a celebrity as your BFF, who would it be?
Oh my God. Oh, that would be tough. Living or dead?
Either.
Prince.
Prince. That's a good one.
Yeah.
That's a good
He's
one.
one of my most favorite people in the
Yeah, I
entire
love
world.
Prince too. I
Yeah.
love Prince too.
Because of the talent, and he's like the story, he's absolutely zany. Like he's just out of his mind, crazy, but like in a really fun way. Yeah. Living,
I
probably Lady Gaga.
Lady Gaga? Okay.
Yeah.
Wow. Because I always thought that like it would be for me like Sandra Bullock and Winona Judd. I just always felt like, because we're all about the same age. Yeah, I don't know. I just think the two of them are like hilarious, funny, grounded. I relate to them. I think we'd be like, I know I can tell you're trying to
What?
figure that out. You're like, what the actual fuck? I
I
don't know.
mean,
It's just I've always,
Sandra
yeah,
Bullock, I was like, yeah, okay. And then you dropped Winona Judd, and I was like,
Winona Judd.
what the
I
fuck?
because I've seen a bunch of yeah, from the Judds. Yeah.
Well, bitch, I know who she is.
Because I've seen like interviews with her, and I love her so much, and I like her sense of humor and everything, and I was like, yeah, we'd be friends. Yeah.
Yeah, I think she'd be a lot of fun.
Yeah, I think she'd be a
Oh,
lot of
and
fun.
Dolly Parton. Dolly Parton would probably be
Yes,
another really
Dolly
good one.
Parton. Dolly
Yeah,
Parton.
Dolly
I
would be a
loved I
good one
loved Dolly
too.
Parton. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, that bitch is spectacular. Do you know where she got her look from?
No.
So, true story. I love Dolly. Anyway, quick little side story. She got her look because she was born and raised like in a trailer park, right? and there was like the the town prostitute would always be like dressed up and decked up, and Dolly just thought she was so beautiful and she wanted to look like her, and that's her emulating that appearance that she had. She was the
Wow.
town whore.
And I guess to her that was glamorous and
She thought it
beautiful
was
and
so
yeah.
glamorous. Yeah, yeah,
Wow.
yeah.
Wow. I love Dolly. Because
Love her.
she's always been so open
Yeah,
with everything, you know, and she's done a lot of good work that
a
a lot of
lot.
people don't know about.
Yeah,
You know, that she's not that's not public, that she's like, I read recently she's paid for like proms and um sports equipment, school equipment
yeah,
for like a lot of like underprivileged schools in the South,
yeah. She's
and
a
she does a
very, very
lot of,
generous woman. Yeah,
yeah, she does a lot of good work that's not known.
and that says a lot about her.
Yeah, exactly.
The
That
fact that,
that they're not buildings all over the states with her with her name on
yeah,
it, that she just supports, and yeah, that
yeah,
says a lot. That says a
yeah.
lot. Yeah. Yeah. No, she's awesome. She's awesome. Well, thank you so much. This was
Uh,
I knew this would, you know, I was like, "You're one of my best friends," and I was like, "Oh, this will be easier," but it felt weird at first. It was like, "This is too formal. This is we need to loosen up a little bit." It was too weird because I it felt strange me being like, "So, tell me about your mother," sort of
yeah,
thing, you know. But I think we got past that, so that
I
was
we just very naturally transitioned into a very genuine conversation. I
yes,
think, yeah,
exactly, and
yeah.
I love that, and I love that. So thank you so much for your time. Do you have any shows or events coming up that you'd like to promote?
Just the Dirty Bird Comedy Festival. So there's lots of shows going on for that, but I have two shows. One on November 18th at Overflow Brewery with Jarrett Campbell headlining that one.
Yeah, I think I'm on
Um,
that one too.
Steve Love, you're on that show.
Hmm.
Myself, and then Broadhead Brewery on the Saturday, the 19th, with Kyle Brown Rig, Logan Brown, Eva Alexo, and myself. Yeah.
Nice.
So
And
looking
the
forward
festival itself runs from the 17th to
to
November
20th.
17th to the 20th, is it?
Yeah, I believe it's right to the
Okay.
20th. Yeah, I think they're doing a
Okay.
Sunday night show as well. Yeah.
Cool. Cool.
Yeah,
Where
it's
can
all
people
over
find
Ottawa.
you on social media?
Uh, on Facebook at Rob Aaron Morgan, on Instagram at Rob Morgan Photography or Rob Aaron Morgan,
Okay.
on OnlyFans at
I'll put all those handles in. This is where you can find Rob.
the OnlyFans, the Pornhub, the Grinder at Chucker
Grinder.
Sucker.
Well, thank you so much.
Thanks for having me.
And yeah, I appreciate you. I appreciate your time, and I love you very much. And thank you for being
I
here.
love the hell out of you and appreciate the fuck out of you. And I'm so glad we're friends.
Me too. Me too.
All right. I'll
Thank
chat with
you.
you soon, sweetie.
Yeah, we'll talk
Okay.
later. Thank you.
Thanks.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye, everyone.